You're listening to The Bible Guys, a podcast where a couple of friends talk about the Bible in fun and practical ways.
It's National Jeff Day.
What?
On October 20th,
Woo!
It is National Jeff Day.
Man, it's about time.
It's every year.
Hey, everybody, all your wildest dreams are going to come true.
It's every year, Jeff, on October 20th, apparently.
October 20th.
Which,
I had no idea.
Who knew? Who knew?
I don't know.
Do you remember when they did National Chris Day?
Yes, I do.
So
how could we forget?
Right.
It was like the highlight of the year.
No, it was not. But,
yes, it was.
But there was a question, and Desiree is now asking the same question for you.
Uh-huh.
So Desiree puts together this question and says, so Jeff, because it's National Jeff Day on October 20th, the question is, if you would create your perfect day, what would it look like? ?
Wow.
Now, do you remember my answer?
What was your answer?
I said that I would go to all four parks at Disney World with my family, with the celebrity of my choice on each park.
Yes.
And you said, do you remember what you said?
It sounded like actual hell.
Actual hell, which is so funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Disney has its place, but it's not the place I'm thinking that's my perfect day.
Yeah, well, I am happy when I'm with my family. We all love it so much together that when we experience it, and I'm staying there with my family, and we're there, we just, I love it. I love it. When it's good, right? Oh, because I'm an extrovert too. So my wife would never agree with this. She'd never be like, "You're perfect date, Disney. I would never choose that." But if I said to my wife, "What if nobody was there, and it was just everybody you love?"
That's how your wife talks to you, by the way? Liz, wow, we had no idea. You seem such a nice person,
she's like a
Liz.
cat.
Liz is one of the nicest people on the planet.
She's the nicest human. She would never talk like that.
No.
Although she does have a little spitfire that nobody really sees.
I always tell my wife she's my favorite kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's right. That's great.
Yeah, okay. So,
Jeff, if you would create your perfect day, what would it look like?
Well, it would be probably fall up north.
Oh, there you go. That's a good start.
Leaves are turning.
I didn't think about weather. You're starting with weather.
Like 66, 67 degrees.
Look at you.
Low humidity. Leaves are turning. Light breeze, not a big breeze. Bright sun.
Are the Lions winning, Jeff?
Yes, absolutely. Blue sky.
Give us more backdrop.
Blue sky with white. Well, probably hiking pants.
What's happening in the economy?
In a vest. And blue sky with like just a couple of high fluffy clouds.
Okay,
right.
All right.
That's
I'm with you.
A great day.
You have me. I'm with you.
And then driving through the tunnel of trees on the way to breakfast.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, isn't that great?
That's pretty good.
And then we're going to do like a fun hike thing, picnic next.
You lost me.
Through the woods with a picnic next to like one of the Great Lakes.
Okay.
And then come home and grill with the family around as the sun sets.
Come all the way home or go to like a lodge there?
Yeah, wherever we're at. But with with the family all around, sun setting. The porch lights come on, the hanging
the string lights,
lights. And
now
little fire going.
Are you still on the lake? Is this a lodge on the lake?
Wherever, it doesn't matter, just as long as the family's there at that point. We've already seen the lake today. So
okay, all right, all right.
So it's mostly outdoors, nature stuff. That's like the perfect day with the smoke of a good dinner cooking.
Now I know
like a good steak.
I know you hunt deer, but do you love seeing deer run across the road?
Yeah. I'm a big nature guy. Yeah, go looking at animals.
So assuming that there are deer on the side of the road and things like that too.
Yeah, I'm always sad to see the deer on the side of the road. They're mostly dead.
No. I meant like eating grass. I didn't mean dead on the side of the road.
Does that make you happy? Does it? Man, one of my favorite things is all those raccoons on the side of the road.
Yeah, that is not what I meant.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
So listen.
So I've gone out to my tree stand before and just sat in the tree in the woods without a weapon in my hands, and just watch animals walk by, watch the birds come by. I was sitting there one time and I had an owl swoop down and come and land right on the branch next to me and just sit there and keep turning its head looking at me and stuff.
No, I like the owl thing.
Yeah, I love all that stuff.
But the idea of sitting in a stand with nothing for hours, I could honestly say that I could, with confidence, that sounds like actual hell to me.
You would jump out of the tree stand.
I would want to be
near.
You
do a head dive.
I'd want to be near somebody.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Hello, is there anybody I can talk to?"
Yep.
Yeah. Because I'm an extrovert.
Yeah, so that covers all the things. It covers nature. It covers, the sunshine, all that kind of stuff. It covers the lakes and the mountains and the woods. I love all that stuff. And then family and grilling, cooking. I love all that stuff, gathering a family together. That'd probably be my favorite day.
So my wife and I, with our kids, went up about 4 weeks ago and did the Tunnel of Trees. And we saw deer, plenty of deer. And they were just on the side of the road. They were all living and eating grass or standing just slightly in the woods or something. I bet you we saw 20 to 30 deer along the way. And I'm telling you what, it was beautiful. Beautiful. Wasn't October beautiful? It was September beautiful.
And then we'd end the night with like a late night Lions win.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, everybody standing around yelling at the TV for a couple hours.
And
that sounds like a fun day to me.
And you bet $1 million on the Lions.
I'm not a bettor. I don't bet, man. I think a fool and his money are soon parted.
Right. Well, one thing's for sure: whenever you bet on the Lions, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah. So that sounds like a great day to me.
Yeah, that's. We
should make it happen on October 20th.
There you go. National Jeff Day. You heard it right here, Bonnie.
That's right.
Hey, that didn't sound like a suggestion to me.
Yeah, we should make it happen.
That sounded like a big
Let me see if I'm in
request.
town. Let me see if I'm in town on October 20th, and I'll make sure we get it done. Ooh, I am. It's a Sunday, though, so
okay.
You're probably going to make me preach that day.
I think you are, actually.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, still, fun day.
Yes, it is a fun day.
Congratulations for all of you that get to celebrate National Jeff Day with us.
Yes, what a privilege.
What? I can only imagine how incredible it is for all of you.
From yesterday's mess up, it's an honor, nay, a privilege.
That's right.
Yes,
it's just got to be so exciting. I bet for days, children probably have those little, like at Christmas, the Advent calendars where you open up each calendar day and you get your little candy and you're looking forward to Christmas Day.
Yes,
I think that's going to be a thing for National Jeff Day now.
You are preaching at the Sterling Heights campus, speaking on the skill of communication.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right. Well, hey, that was a riveting segment. Thank you, Jeff, for giving us some insight into the life of Jeff.
So you with celebrities at Disney, me with my close loved ones walking in the woods, having a picnic along the lake, and grilling at night, watching a football game.
Well, let's be clear. I said me
in the fall.
No. I said me and my family. With celebrities at Disney.
Yes. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. So because here's the way you said it.
Words matter.
Yeah.
Words matter.
Here's what you just said.
You're right.
You with celebrities at Disney, me with my close family and loved ones in the woods together. Hey, you me.
Yeah, no, that is not what I was saying. Well, I was highlighting the fact that you prefer the artificial Disney thing, and I prefer what God made. That's all I was highlighting.
Hey, God, and see, maybe this is the difference. I believe that God did make Disney through creative minds that He made.
Yeah. I just don't think that creative minds improve on what God did.
Ooh, that's pretty good. So I'm trying to come up with a snappy comeback, and I don't think I can trump that.
Well, there you go.
That's pretty good.
I'm sorry. That's fine.
Right.
This is for those of you that don't get to hang out with us all the time.
Yeah,
this is pretty much our life.
Yeah,
we're always one-upping each other. And, trying to,
I got to give that win.
You, me.
I got to give that win to you.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
That's pretty good.
I don't get them all the time.
And by the way, I didn't really even think that was worth an argument, but I was trying to argue something.
Which that also is our life.
Yes.
We argue when you don't even need to.
Right.
We come at each other. So.
Okay, so we're in 2 Samuel 15, verse 13 through 37, so it's a little bit longer of a story, and we're going to actually see what comes when Absalom decides to put into motion this plan of his.
That's right. Absalom is King David's son.
Yeah.
He's decided to pull off a coup after an 8-year window of him being disappointed with his father, and he says, hey, when the horn blows, everybody come over and shout Absalom has been crowned king in Hebron. And so the Bible says in 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 13, a messenger soon arrived in Jerusalem to tell David, all Israel has joined Absalom in a conspiracy against you. Then we must flee at once or it'll be too late, David urged his men. Hurry, if we get out of the city before Absalom arrives, both we and the city of Jerusalem will be spared from disaster. We are with you, his advisors replied. Do what you think is best. So the king and all his household set out at once. He left no one behind except 10 of his concubines to look after the palace. The king and all his people set out on foot, pausing at the last house to let all the king's men move past to lead the way. There were 600 men from Gath who had come with David, along with the king's bodyguard. Then the king turned and said to Ittai, a leader of the men from Gath, "Why are you coming with us? Go on back to King Absalom, for you are a guest in Israel, a foreigner in exile. You arrived only recently, and should I force you today to wander with us? I wouldn't even know where we will go. Go on back and take your kinsman with you, and may the Lord show you his unfailing love and faithfulness." But Ittai said to the king, "I vow by the Lord and by your own life that I will go wherever my lord the king goes, no matter what happens, whether it means life or death." And David replied, "All right, come with us." And so Ittai and his men, all his men and their families, went along. Everyone cried loudly as the king and his followers passed by. They crossed the Kidron Valley and then went toward the wilderness. Zadok and all the Levites also came along, carrying the Ark of the Covenant of God. They set down the Ark of God, and Abiathar offered sacrifices until everyone had passed out of the city. Then the king instructed Zadok to take the Ark of God back into the city. "If the Lord sees fit," David said, "he will bring me back to see the Ark in the tabernacle again. But if he is through with me, then let him do what seems best to him." The king also told Zadok the priest, "Look, here is my plan. You and Abiathar should return quickly to the city with your son Ahimaaz and Abiathar's son Jonathan. I will stop at the shallows of the Jordan River and wait there for a report from you." So Zadok and Abiathar took the Ark of God back to the city and stayed there. David walked up the road to the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went. His head was covered and his feet were bare as a sign of mourning, and the people who were with him covered their heads and wept as they climbed the hill. When David told Abiathar that his advisor Ahithophel was now backing Absalom, David prayed, "O Lord, let Ahithophel give Absalom foolish advice." When David reached the summit of the Mount of Olives, where people worshipped God, Hushai the Archite was waiting there for him. Hushai had torn his clothing, put dirt on his head as a sign of mourning. But David told him, "If you go with me, you will only be a burden. Return to Jerusalem and tell Absalom, I will now be your advisor, O king, just as I was your father's advisor in the past. And then you can frustrate and counter Ahithophel's advice. Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, will be there. Tell them about the plans being made in the king's palace, and they'll send their sons Ahimaaz and Jonathan to tell me what's going on." So David's friend Hushai returned to Jerusalem, getting there just as Absalom arrived. Dude, this is like a soap opera.
It is a soap opera.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people say all the time, "Oh, I have a hard time reading the Bible. I have a hard time staying interested." Are you serious?
Well, I'll tell you one thing I have a hard time doing is listening to you butcher all those words.
Butcher what words? What words did I mess up?
Oh,
Ahithophel,
listen,
Ittai.
You did a great job.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
But I will bet you,
Abiathar.
I will bet you that is not
Ahimaaz.
These are terrible names.
Come on.
These are terrible
names. I
names.
didn't name the people. I'm just reading them.
Okay, like, do you really believe it's Ittai? Ittai?
Usually that's, you have to say all of the, there's some version of
what
every.
What if it's Ittai?
Yeah.
What if it's that?
Yeah, usually you have to say all the vowels.
Hey, I will say this. I am
Hushai.
Once again, all of our dedicated listeners know what I'm about to say. I am incredibly thankful, especially when you read this passage today. I was like, I would never, ever be able to come close to pronouncing these words. You did a really good job.
It was like, then
poking fun.
Then the king also told that guy, the priest, "Look, here's my plan. You and the other guy."
Yes, that's what I do.
Should go and do this thing.
Because they don't matter. I mean, other than, you have to have knowledge, right? But But other than that, you can read it.
Hey, I'll give it a go. I think I'm saying most of these names right. But yeah, usually when you read a Hebrew name, you have to say or a Middle Eastern name, you have to say all of the syllables in some way.
Well, I'll tell you what, this.
All the vowels.
I remember being a kid and reading the Old Testament. Not a elementary school kid, but like in high school, and I remember thinking to myself, "This is crazy." Like, these names of the cities and these names of people are just crazy. And I'm thankful for, names in the Bible that still sound normal, like Joshua and Caleb and Matthew and Mark and Luke and, things that we still hear today, right? Even Jesus, right? Yeah. But Zadok and ITI and, all these different things are just crazy to me. So anyway, had to point that out. So, yes, but the soap opera part of it does make it easier to read. Yeah. Besides the names.
It makes such a good movie, right?
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of intrigue. Now, David introduces intrigue. Absalom has introduced rebellion. He's introduced like this subversiveness that's happening, this underground kind of thing. But David introduces intrigue. It's interesting because he's kind of fallen asleep at the wheel over these last 8 years. During this entire story time, not one victory has happened. We didn't read one psalm during this time. Well, we don't have anything during from the time of Amnon to the time of Absalom rising up and committing this coup against his father. There was nothing else included about David's conquests or things. He was a conqueror. He was a man of action. And for 8 years, you got David kind of sitting on his hands. And then all of a sudden, when the pressure gets on, immediately he goes back to old David. All right, here's what we need to do. We need to get out of the city because I don't want the city wiped out. Maybe God will bring me back. Hey, I want the Ark of God with us as we begin the journey, but send it back. I think God's going to bring me back. But here's what I need. I need somebody in the court of Absalom that can twist the knowledge so he's getting bad advice. And so he sends spies back into Absalom's court. He just immediately wakes up and goes, all right, I don't want my city destroyed, so I'm going to leave so the battle's not in the city. And then I need somebody inside the court to be able to, lead Absalom in a bad way. He just immediately is on top of his game again. It's pretty amazing.
And I have to once again, I am impressed with Absalom because it starts off, what you just read was, a messenger soon arrived in Jerusalem to tell David, all of Israel has joined Absalom in a conspiracy against you. And then David's immediate response, and you're probably right, like a lot of it was the protection of the people, but he says, then we must flee at once or it'll be too late. Hurry, let's get out of the city before Absalom arrives. I think that in there must be a respect that David has, knowing how cunning his son is. Right? He's witnessed it. He's seen it. Maybe he's heard about it. But to me, that is a sign of respect where David's like, well, if I know Absalom, he wouldn't have executed and pulled the trigger on this unless he thought he was going to win. And so I know that probably the best course of action is to get out of town and regroup, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get out of town and regroup, because I know if I try to stay and challenge, I'm probably going to lose because Absalom is that good.
Well, and he knows that. I don't know that we've ever seen David think he's going to lose anything.
Right.
I'm not even sure. I think he thinks he's going to lose this because he sent the Ark of the Covenant back and said, "I think God's going to bring me back here."
Yeah.
Right. But what he does know is that Absalom has no quit in him.
Right.
So if we fight in this city, there'll be nothing to live, nothing to come back to.
Yeah.
So let's get out of the city. Let's get the women and the children and everybody out. We need to protect them. And then he's got this little army here of these guys from Gath and some of the others that had stayed with him. And he's like, okay, well, this is enough. We can win this, but we just don't want the battle in the city. The city, it'll be destroyed.
There's always that tension when you follow God's will in anything, right? Whether you're a leader of a church or whether you're just a leader, or also a leader of your family. There's always that tension between like, okay, what we do what we can do, and then we depend on God to do what only God can do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, as you were talking about like David's motives of like, what's his motive for getting out of the city? What's his motive of going back in the city? It's fun to talk about those things. Because I read them maybe perhaps with a little bit different perception. When David says, well, let me send the ark back because I believe I'm going to go back there. I have a tendency to think that wasn't a strategy comment or a confidence comment. That was a God's in control comment, right? So he's like, I have to believe that God is going to eventually do this. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to send the ark back. But see, I believe that getting out of the city.
Well, he says that if the Lord sees fit, he'll bring me back.
Right.
But I think he believed the Lord would see fit.
Yes, right. because he sent the ark back believing he was going to get there.
Yeah, because we all know how much power the ark carried.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, but getting out of the city was a strategy thing. Right, it was a reactive thing, and so it was like, okay, I know the wise thing to do is to get out of the city, and it could be both strategic and respect for.
Well, he did leave 10
Absalom.
of his concubines in the palace too. Hey, take care of stuff. I think he thought this was just let's get out. Let Absalom realize there's really no reason to come into the city. He'll calm down. I'll come back in the city.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It could be. It could be.
And I think as a dad, I don't think he wants to hurt his son.
Right.
This is
that much is for sure.
Absalom already burned down Joab's thing. Joab being the toughest fighter and the most powerful general in Israel, and he burns down his field just because he's ticked off at Joab. And I think David just has this sense, oh, Absalom. Mm-hmm. Right? So this is a widespread rebellion in David's perspective. Now, it's only Hebron, but in David's perspective, it's all over the whole country and all that. But I think he thought, here's what you have. You have the wise old master and the young pretender. And I think David just strategically went, all right, let's give him nothing to fight for. You've been in Israel. You've been in that part. So he goes, there's that deep Kidron Valley. Then he goes up and he peeks out on top of the Mount of Olives. There's this steep thing. And then when you leave the other side of the Mount of Olives, you go down towards what, Jesus would go to Bethany or whatever. And from that place on, you're heading towards there's nothing out there.
Right.
Nothing. It's just like God-forsaken land.
Yeah, desolate.
Little valleys and hills and crevices and caves. And so David is clearly heading that direction. He's sending the message to his son, I'm disappearing like a ghost. Mm-hmm. You're not going to find me. And there's nothing in Jerusalem. And the previous capital of Israel had been Hebron. That's where David set up his kingdom the first time. Mm-hmm. So, I think what he's trying to do is make Jerusalem as unattractive as possible. And I'm not there, and you're probably not going to find me in the woods. Or it wasn't the woods. You're not going to find me out in the desert. Mm-hmm. And he just disappears. But he leaves 10 of his concubines. He's going to come back. He wanted his palace maintained. Hey, keep it clean because when I come back, right? That's what I think he's doing there. But the amazing thing here for me is that David woke up. Man, if David had just seen the danger 8 years ago, right? Everything would have been different. Yeah,
pay attention to your kids.
Yeah.
In this case, right?
Your job.
Well, your job, your kids, it was all mixed in with David.
He quit fighting.
Yeah.
He quit. It was even before that then, more than 8 years ago. This might have been a decade before he chose not to go to war. Like, my battles are done. I was just with somebody.
Well, out of all fairness, it did take him 30 years to finally, get to be king over all of Israel. And it said that there was actually an acknowledgement where he finally fought his last battle and wiped out his last enemy that was given to him as an assignment. Yeah. So he did sort of. So it was finally
15 years to become king, and then he reigned for 40 years.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking
he was 30 years old.
Right. Well, so that's right. Yeah. So it was really 15 years.
Yeah.
But he was 30 years old. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. So yeah. Just to.
But God had spoken to him out loud, mm-hmm. and said, "No, I'm not going to let you build the temple. You're a man of war, right?
Yep, he did say
You're a man of war." And to be honest with you, while David had peace everywhere, he had not vanquished all the enemies, right? So all of what was supposed to be Israel, he didn't vanquish it all either. He just worked out peace in some of the areas that he stopped fighting in because he was so dominant. But he didn't wipe them out and take possession of the whole land. He just kind of stopped. We were in a conversation recently talking about a friend that there was a point in his life he just had the world by the tail. He was just, everything he did was moving God's kingdom forward, just had this strong, and then came to a point where suddenly he felt tired and old and just took his foot off the gas and mm-hmm. quickly faded.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking, wow, the same week we had that conversation, and we love this person. I'm not talking badly about it. You just saw, it's David is what I think here. Mm. At the same time, I know a lady, she's 80 years old, who a few years ago was really slipping physically. Got turned on to this idea of becoming a disciple maker, making disciple makers. She began to learn about this idea of how to start Discovery Bible studies in little groups, 5, 10, 15 people that nobody else is paying attention to. Who's God sending you away? How to share your faith, how to begin discipling them, and how to disciple them to go also do the same thing. And now this 80-year-old woman is so on fire for God. She has this Bible study that she's leading, this small group that she's led a bunch of people together in the senior center in town.
Wow.
And they give her a room. She's not having to pay for anything there. And people are just coming to this group. So she decides she moves into a senior living center. It's not a retirement home, or it's not a nursing home. It's like a retirement home. Like the whole apartment building is all people over 55. So she gets to talking with the activities director and says, "Hey, how come there's no Bible study here?" "Well, you should do it. The activity director is a Christian." So she launches this thing. She's got this dynamic Bible study going on in her thing. Well, there's another senior apartment building across the parking lot. So it came and said, "Hey, there's not an apartment." And so now this 80-year-old woman is like, whew, I'm just going hard. I've got this mission. And we were just with her the other day. And where I felt like she was fading 5 years ago, I feel like this woman looks like she's going to go forever. Because she had a cause. She had a mission.
Right.
And that's what I see with this guy, with David, is he chose not to go to war. He decided to take his foot off the gas. He gets into sin. That sin then ruins his reputation, brings this curse into his family. His sons go down the same way. He's got like this 10-year window where he took his foot off the gas, and suddenly in this crisis, he wakes up. And he spies in the court. We're going to retreat, not get our city destroyed. He immediately wakes up. Oh, man, if he just hadn't slept during those 5 years or 10 years, everything would have been different. Yeah.
Well, that's a good lesson. It's a good lesson for all of us. So there's a lot of little sermons in this
Don't
little
take your
story.
foot off the gas.
Yeah, there you go.
Just because you accomplished one thing doesn't mean you're done. God's got more for you. Keep going.
There you go.
That's it.
All right. Well, that's our time. So hopefully we'll see you on Monday on the Bible Guys.